Today's video, we are talking about the possibility of asphalt shingles getting banned in Florida. Today, I've got Jimmy with me. I figured what a perfect person to add as a guest to talk about this, being that he does home inspections every day and he's out there and he's got his finger on the pulse with the insurance industry. So thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
What are
no
your
problem.
initial?
A lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of the inspectors are going back and forth, about this ban. And, I'll tell you guys, I'll tell you towards the end what I think my opinion is going to be, on asphalt shingles. But I just don't think, I understand why they want to ban it and, use metal roofs or use something else. But how could you get away from the affordability? What's more affordable than asphalt shingles?
Exactly. So like what kind of where are they heading with this? So, like the good and the bad with asphalt shingles, we kind of know that, the good stuff with asphalt shingles is they're easy to put on. They're lightweight. Yeah. They're semi-affordable, for the most part.
Variety of styles. You pick a lot of different styles and different colors when it comes to shingles.
Yeah, you just went through that with your roof at your house.
Oh yeah, and I knew what color I wanted to paint the house, so I picked the right shingles. So I put a match up and everything. But at the same time, a lot of people install them because they're easy to install. Okay,
right.
Roofers don't have a hard time like metal roofs, but these shingles I put up on my roof are technically 30-year shingles. But because of the Florida sun, or in the hurricanes and the storms, I'll be lucky to get 18 years out of it. And I think the insurance companies are going to start barking at it after 10 years, So
right.
Why did I even bother paying the extra money for a 30-year shingle when it's going to have to replace it within 20? But if I got a 20-year shingle, it might only last 10 years because it's a lot thinner and a lot lighter.
Right. And then the second we get a storm or even just we don't even have to get a hurricane, realistically. We just need a good afternoon shower and it can cause damage, to the roofing shingles. They're not that hard to damage, to be honest, because you said something there. Go ahead.
You're right. They're not hard to damage, but they're easy to repair. Like literally, okay, like I have probably 5 bundles of my shingles in my garage. Okay. So if I lose a few shingles, all right, I can go up there and I have the same exact color, same exact style that I can replace it. Okay. So it's just easy all the way around. And what's the average person? You tell me. How long does the average person stay in the house?
It used to be like 6 to 7 years, but now it's starting to extend a little bit up to that like 10-year-ish range. But that comes in cycles too, I think.
Okay, so if you're buying a house and the roof was, a lot of times the roofs are being replaced because they're not going to pass the 4-point inspection in Florida that you need 5 years. Even with Citizens, you need 5 years of life left.
Right.
So a lot of sellers are replacing their roofs. And now because they're replacing their roofs, the people move in. The average person you said was 10 years. That roof is going to last 15 to 20 years. So that's why an asphalt thing is great. But, insurance companies, they might want a metal roof that is double or even triple the price. And it's not easy to install a metal roof. I love metal roofs, don't get me wrong. But, you're going to be paying a premium, and who could afford that?
Yeah, exactly. And in one of the articles that I found doing research on this topic for us to talk about, metal roofs cost approximately 65% more than asphalt shingles. And then ceramic and concrete tile is around 50% more than asphalt shingles.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And if you're doing tile roofs, you have to beef up the structural members underneath the house because the lightweight roof construction, the trusses weren't totally engineered to have the weight of the tile roof. So that's going to be an option. If they phase this in, that's not going to be an option for everybody. They're going to have to go with an alternative, like
they're going to have
plastic.
to go with metal, or they have roofs now that I just looked at one that look like clay tiles, but they're actually tin. They're actually metal.
Yeah.
And they're painted, But at the same time, they're talking about banding it, and now they're doing fire resistant shingles. Okay, they're adding an additive to make them fire resistant. And for Florida, I don't know if you heard this. I just read an article that they're coming out with UV resistant shingles. So,
Is that an asphalt shingle or is that
asphalt? Yeah, they're going to put a treatment on it so they'll be UV rated.
Interesting.
So, okay, so UV and heat rated. So that's going to extend the life and everything, and people think metal roofs are like perfect, but the creases, if somebody walks on a metal roof or a clay roof the wrong way, what's going to happen? They're going to crack the seams and there's going to be leaks, And the other problem with metal roofs too is, and don't get me wrong, in Hudson, I'm putting metal roof because it's so high up in the air, but some people don't like when it rains the tinny sound because you do hear it. It doesn't. You hear the sound from the rain.
Yeah, it definitely can be an issue.
I know I'm pro asphalt shingles because of the affordability mostly. Because a lot of people can't afford these metal roofs. But there's cons to. I'll give you a list of cons to asphalt shingles. A, they have a much shorter life than metal roofs or clay roofs.
Yep.
Okay, they're vulnerable to high winds. We already know that.
Yep.
Okay, so hurricanes could really, like, after a hurricane, go look at a few go walk around your house. You probably see a few shingles on the floor, on the ground.
Yeah, well, and just this last storm that came through, even all the way up here, in Wesley Chapel and some of our newer construction neighborhoods, not the brand new stuff, but stuff that's 5 to 8 years old. I noticed a lot of wind damage on roofs, where they lost some shingles. They had a lot of uplift and they broke off. And it kind of goes to the point. Yeah, they only put a 20-year shingle on there maybe, and they are thin, and they break pretty easily. And they're about halfway through their life, with the Florida sun and the heat and humidity.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing too. If you have a roof overhanging the roof, you have to deal with mildew and algae.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have to, deal with, just the granule losses, from like if a branch is rubbing, I've seen so many houses that a palm tree is rubbing against the top of the roof and it's just rubbing it little by little by little. And now it's a bare spot and now it's a leak and now it fails a 4-point because of one branch that's rubbing against the house,
Yep. We had a buyer that once the inspection was done, when we pulled all the permits were 6 months old for the roof, but there were almost no no granules left on the shingles. And what had happened is they put a new roof on and they didn't trim the tree back. And that was it. You could see when you went back and really started investigating that they had trimmed the branches back on the tree, but it was swaying and it was just like a little broom, just every day, all day for 6 months, and it swept away all the granules on a brand new roof. They had to end up re-roofing that house again.
Yeah, I mean, another con with asphalt shingles is they do absorb heat. You ever walk on a roof, in the summer, they absorb heat,
Yep. Between the heat there and in your attic, which all of it's transferring, I don't think sometimes people that come down here from up north realize, everybody's like, oh, there's not much attic space and we can't convert this and we can't do. I'm like, you're not going to want to go up there. It's 138 degrees in that attic, 130 degrees in that attic. That doesn't help.
But listen, at the same time, politicians, insurance companies would love everybody to have a metal roof. At the end of the day,
right?
They would love it because
it reduces their risk.
It reduces the risk by quite a bit, but they're not the ones paying for the roof.
Right.
So you have a metal roof that's lasting you 40 years. The insurance companies love that. An asphalt roof, they're talking about replacing them after 10, 12 years. And how many times I've been to a roof in Florida that the roof is over 20 years, but for some reason they use a good underlayment. Now they're using what's peel and stick. It's like and they're putting asphalt on there. And
yep,
the company wants it replaced, but I think that the roof has another 10 years in it. I mean, you ever see the houses that the roofs are old, but they look like, wow, it's a really nice roof.
Yeah, and they take care of the house. They get the roof soft washed to keep the algae and the mildew. You see the roofs where they're a little bit black I mean, they're obviously already black, but you can see that they're not that consistent color. Some roofs are tan, but they're getting them soft washed and cleaned up, and that I truly believe that does help extend the roof's life. Just maintenance on your house in general is a good positive thing.
Yeah, I think that maybe the insurance companies are going to put it on their wish list, but I don't think the state. I mean, we have so many issues with insurance and cost and taxes. I don't see the politicians of Florida saying, "Oh, by the way, now you're going to have to, put a metal roof on your," because we're passing a law of that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the technology of shingles is going to get better. I think the manufacturing is going to get better. I remember shingles compared to, believe it or not, like people saying, "Oh, this is old shingles. It's really, really good." Believe it or not, shingles have been getting better. They're getting more resistant. They're some shingles are really good. There's really cheap shingles, and there's really expensive shingles.
Yeah.
But in Florida, here's my recommendation, everybody. If you know that you have to replace your roof every 20 years, okay, get a 30-year shingle because it'll last you 20 years. If you go for a 20-year shingle, then you might have problems 12, 13 years down the road.
Right, like that one house deal that we're working on.
Yeah,
It's got 17 years on the roof. So it's still got a little bit of time. I'm sorry, excuse me, 16 years left on the roof, but it's got a little bit of time left on it. But that roof does not. I mean, that thing looks like it needed to be replaced a couple years ago.
Right. I mean, listen, when an inspector goes out there, it's an opinion piece, and if you send a roofer there, what do you think the roofer's going to say? I'm not beating up on roofers, but they're there to replace the roof.
Right, exactly. I mean, unless it's so grossly doesn't need to get done, but for the most part, yeah, they're going to recommend it. That's how they make their bread and butter for the most part.
So at the end of the day, my opinion is, I don't think asphalt shingles are going anywhere, because even if they ban them in Florida, the manufacturers are still going to be creating really nice shingles, all different colors, for the rest of the United States.
Yeah, and if they did, I think it's going to be one of those things that's such a long, long rollout. It's not going to help. Yeah, I get it. Everybody's trying to help find ways to cut premiums. And on that topic of premiums, let's say, for instance, this does get done. How much of a premium savings to customers is it going to be? And then how much is it going to be a savings when maybe your monthly payment goes down for your insurance premium? And yes, I understand maybe less damage overall to the insurance industry because of storm damage. But how much when you do have to replace that with, we talked about 65% increase in cost for a metal roof, 65% increase. That's a lot of money when the average roof shingles is what, 15 to 20 grand.
Yeah, but they're not going to decrease your premium. They're just going to say, well, now if something happens to it, we have to pay more money to put a new metal roof on. And not for nothing, but like a metal roof on my house would look ugly. Number two, the HOA would never allow me to put a metal roof, even if I wanted to put a metal roof on there.
Well, they've got those metal roofs that don't look like the metal roof, like what you're putting on your house down by the water. You wouldn't even be able to tell some of these metal roofs are metal.
Yeah, but you're talking about stamped metal roofs. So
because they come in like shingle pieces. You screw them down.
Those are at another 2 times expensive.
Oh, those are outrageously expensive.
Yeah, so you're talking about, say my roof cost me $25,000, okay? Mm-hmm. I have 45 squares, I think. 40 or 45 squares I used to do my house. I would say to put those metal shingles stamps on there, I'd probably be spending about $90,000.
Oh, they're supposedly a 100-year roof, but if you're spending 80 grand on the roof,
who has 80? It's not like who has 80 grand. And some people are like, oh, roofers are going to come on and probably comment on your thing saying, oh, we could finance it. Yeah, you're going to finance 80 grand at 21% interest. Give me a break,
Right.
We can't even afford the property taxes and insurance, and don't get me going down the path of property taxes and insurance.
Just for giggles, let's say it's $60,000, right? Let's just just call it 60,000, divide that by 30 years, like $2,000 a year, right? $2,000 a year just to add on to your taxes, your insurance, and everything else. And that's 30 years. You're financing your roof for 30 years.
Yeah. Listen.
And remember, you're not going to live in that house for 30 years.
No, that's why I asked you, what's the average time?
Like, yeah. So there's some other things that, as we start getting into this, that, you dive into and you start really, it sounds great on the surface, but then when you start breaking it down like that, just as a payment, it's probably not that feasible unless they start getting the costs down to manufacture some of these roofs, which I just don't see it happening. Nothing's going down right now.
But Bill, you have to look at it too. Insurance companies are talking about roofs and banning asphalt shingles, but they're also talking about banning ranch style homes and everything being on stilts. So you want the houses up 18 feet, but you also want a metal roof, and you're still going to charge, a high premium. That's why so many people are going bare, basically with no insurance.
Right.
Which I don't recommend. At least have fire, theft, and liability.
At the very minimum. Geez, yeah. Like, because
and
really here for us, the storm, and flood is really where it gets you.
Oh, remember we were quoting my house? My house was like, what, $8,000? And then I said, okay, you know what? Forget about wind, because that's what we call it here. Give me fire, theft, and liability. And I think that it dropped down to $1,400.
Yeah, it was so crazy. It was asinine.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting wind because, I found a deal and stuff. But maybe next year I won't have wind.
Yeah, you don't know as things change. Here's the theory. Maybe this will happen, or maybe this is just something as an alternative as this unfolds, as you will. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But maybe they'll start changing regulations like they did with stilts, that they require the ranches to be on stilts now for everything that you build. Maybe they'll change the roof requirements to a metal roof only when you're within so many, like if you're in the, like an AE area, like right on the coast.
You want to hear something funny? Okay. And it kind of has to do with this topic you're talking about. So I was working on, because we have both channels, I was working on something about insurance. Okay. And, roofs and, stilts and all that stuff. So during the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, pretty much in our area, the ranches never got flooded.
Yeah.
They never got flooded. Mm-mm. Then, the last 20 years, they started getting flooded. So when they decided to build those ranches, there really wasn't an issue of flooding, but now there is. It's just something to think about.
Yeah, because that was kind of when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, on the coast.
You never had flooding?
Oh God, no. We never. This was not something yet. Now, granted, we didn't have internet and all that stuff, so it was, it was a little bit harder to get your news. It was whatever channel 8, or 28 at the time, I think it was, whatever they provided you. So you didn't get that widespread coverage like always. And we were kids. We didn't really watch the news like, we do here as an adult. But, like I don't remember my friends complaining. We had Hurricane Elena come through, and one of my best friends that I grew up with on the water, his house was on the water in Bel Air. Nothing. We were out playing the next day. Like nothing happened.
Well, now they're saying, okay, and so I was doing more research into this for this video, and it's basically because now they're building the houses 5 feet apart from each other. Back then they weren't. It wasn't as urban. It wasn't as condensed.
Yeah.
So
I guess
now
that could be.
And before, during those times, the water was able to go places. Now there's less places for the water, the rain to go.
True. Because I'm thinking just tidal surge. But yeah, overall, now I would 110% agree that because of urban development, there's our rainwater from the storms. There's nowhere for it. There's very limited places for it to go. And that's really what's causing all this accessory flooding that's more inland than we ever saw before. Tidal surge is something different, but flooding from rainwaters, yeah, it's a different situation now for sure, 100%.
To go back to the topic of your video, asphalt shingles, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. We have bigger problems with insurance the way it is now, and taxes, and we have other problems to worry about. You know, shingles is the last thing, and if you can't take something away that's affordable for people, because the average person cannot afford a metal roof. Trust me, they can't.
No, I mean, come on. We've said it over and over again on numerous videos.
And not only that, okay, but you can't take a house, like even my house, which, you know, my truss frame, the way it's built, the roof, I can't, it's not engineered, it's not designed for clay roofs, so that's out.
Right.
They're just too heavy. If you ever go to an attic that has a true clay roof and you see how it's structured in there?
Yeah, the trusses are generally made at a minimum with 2x6s on clay roofs.
Right, but you can't take a, you know, attic, you know, support system that's 2x4s or less of them, and then put clay on there. That's crazy.
Well, it literally will not hold the weight.
No.
The only thing that retrofitting would do is to be putting, like, I saw some of this stuff that they're talking about in these articles is like a plastic shingle type material, a rubbery type material, just various different things. Yeah. But I just don't see that industry just hasn't gotten far enough yet to where this is even a feasible concept, in my opinion.
Here's the thing, okay? They're doing Florida now. They're starting the last few years. They've been putting a lot of what's called peel and stick down. It's like a rubber membrane. It's like a cap, you know, a shower cap. You know, there's problems with that too. One problem is once it's down, you're never peeling it back up, especially after it's been down. I put peel and stick on my house. The second thing is you have to have really good ventilation in the attic, or the roof is going to sweat.
Yep.
Okay, you could literally sweat the sheathing, you know, because it's so airtight and stuff. But if you have good ventilation and peel a stick, like now when I have to replace my roof, you know, I'm probably not even going to be living here, but you know, when they do, the shingles will come off and the peel and stick is going to stay there, and then they'll put another layer of peel and stick on there or whatever it is at that time and put shingles down again.
Right.
But now I could lose all my shingles in a storm. I'm still not going to leak.
And you're still not going to leak. That's the purpose of the seal and stay. And then when the nails go through, it seals behind them. So it prevents leaks.
Yeah.
It's great stuff, but oof, we'll have to see how that pans out. They've been using that up north, though. I've seen that in some of the builders trade shows.
Yeah, but now it's becoming more common.
Yeah.
But now, you know, it's hard to find a new, and it's not a big add-on to the expense, but, you know, do I recommend everybody putting peel and stick? No, I don't. It depends on your ventilation of your attic, believe it or not. Right,
because there are some attics, like the one that the other deal that we've been working on for my buyers, that you know, they kind of messed up the gable vents, you know, and blocked them off a little bit. Yeah. But hopefully they'll get those. You know, they're going to get that stuff fixed up, so there's not so much of an issue with
that. I did that inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were blocked. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they don't have the soffits. They have ridge vents, but they don't have soffits, and they semi-blocked the gables.
Yep.
So we're working on that. We're working that out with everything.
All right, great.
So. But anyway, that's today's video. We appreciate you staying to the end and watching. And I've picked this video right here for you. I'll put it over Jimmy's face this time because that's what he does on his channel with me.
And subscribe to Bill's channel or what?
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.
Thank you.